a great evening. So, okay, so we are going to be making, again, like I said, the crisscross jumper, and it is a cute jumper that buttons at the shoulder, so you don't have to worry about zippers or any closures, although I will have to make 2 buttonholes, which is totally not my favorite. So, but I'm trying to decide with this tree fabric if I should use the green buttons, the red buttons, or the white buttons. So let's take a vote now before I get cutting. What do you think? Which color buttons should we use to go with this fabric? So isn't this going to be cute Christmas fabric? I love it. I think it's going to be super adorable. So anyway, yeah, let me know which of these buttons you think would work well. And I'm going to show you how this pattern works. So looks like oh no, we're having some ties. You guys need to vote. Oh, looks like red might be winning. I'm thinking red because I'm going to outline one of the trees in red embroidery floss to add a little color on the front. So anyway, we will, oh boy, now there's lots of greens. So this pattern is just 2 simple pieces, okay? A front that you cut on the fold and a back that you cut a right and a left. And this is what crosses in the back to create like kind of the crisscross shape. So I've already cut out the lining so you can see the 2 pieces. So here's the front and then here's one of the back pieces. And now I'm going to go ahead and cut out of the tree fabric the other one. Looks like red and green is kind of a tie for the color. So maybe when we get to sewing on those buttons, I'll double check and see which one I think looks the best. All right. Obviously I pre-washed this fabric and it, shredded the edge a little bit. All right, so we're going to cut out, this is kind of a linen. I don't think it's probably a real linen. I bought it here just in like the Hong Kong fabric market. Yes, it is going to be a child's dress. So that's what it is. So anyway, let's see. Just wanting to make sure that it did post this to a couple of the other sites that I share to. I assume it did, but it doesn't seem like we have as many people watching as normal. Doesn't look like it shared it, which is weird. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just going to sorry, let's see. Let's try this again. And we're going to share this to all of the sites that I normally share to. Hit OK. And hit share now. Okay, so hopefully that will share them. I'm so sorry. This is like such a weird thing to me that I'm like, I feel like I'm going blind on this because I can't see what you guys are saying. I have to be on the computer, which is not normal. Okay, so yes, this is a child's dress. It is, sorry. It comes in free sizes 2 through 6 is the sizes it comes in, but you could totally take the pattern pieces and adapt them for any size that you want to work with. It's just a matter of taking like an A-line dress and like copying it out. So it's not difficult. So if you downloaded the pattern and take a look at how it is, I'm sure you could adapt it to make it work for you. So I'm so sorry. I'm trying this new way of sharing, and I'm really trying to, okay. So it appears that it is shared. Okay, sorry. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my page so I can watch the video and get you guys' comments, right? What I wanna see is comments, because they are not showing up on my thing. At first I thought no one was watching, and I was talking for like 10 minutes with no one watching. So, okay, all right, you could make this for an adult, but like what I said is you'd have to take, just take the pattern pieces and if you have an A-line dress pattern, you could totally make this. The front is pretty much just an A-line dress, where I curved the shoulder seam and added about 3/4 of an inch. And then the back, you're just taking from the side seam to the opposite shoulder and then curving in between. All right, so you could do this and you could adapt it for anybody. So, okay, thank you guys for being patient. I'm trying to get the kinks worked out in my sharing, and oh my goodness, Christmas shopping. I am an online shopper. Actually, I did go to Toys R Us on Monday here in Hong Kong to buy my kids some presents, only because Amazon, the international thing, takes a really long time. So anyway, last Christmas I ordered from Amazon in the US, and actually shipping is, surprisingly, if you have Prime, shipping is not that bad. So it's not about the shipping cost, it was about the timing. And I ordered presents for the boys, and it said they were going to arrive, you know, on a good time for Christmas. Anyway, they were late. So this year I went to the store. I went to Toys R Us here in Hong Kong on Monday, and I did some shopping for my kids, because we are leaving to go back to the U.S. on Saturday the 17th. And so we're going to do like our family Christmas here the night before and open the gifts. So I need to have some of the kids' gifts here and not in the U.S. But I must say, if I'm not making the gift, I am ordering it from Amazon, because I'm not touching the stores this time of year. I don't really love shopping, and I don't really like fighting all those crowds. So, all right. So I'm cutting, this is the front of the jumper, and I'm making Rose a 2T because she is, again, very petite and narrow, especially in the shoulders and the chest. So when I use her measurements, she still measures the smallest size. But what I did do when I traced the pattern is I added a little bit of length, because the problem with kids who are thin is that they keep growing up. So she keeps getting taller, but not necessarily wider. And so this jumper is going to get shorter and shorter on her. And it is actually going to be pretty short. It's like a short jumper, at least the one I'm making. But you could adjust the height, no problem. So Michelle asked where I'm living. So Michelle, those of you that watch frequently know that I live in Hong Kong. So it is just after 9:00 a.m. here in the morning. And my family and I have lived here for many years. And in fact, on was it Monday night, U.S. time, I did a little tour of our home. So if you want to know what our Hong Kong apartment looks like, you can go back and check out that home tour and get a little view of what life looks like in a different place. So I am not going to try and match the Christmas trees at the side seam. I don't think. This is a side seam, and I'm just going to have the trees fall where they may. So you could try and match the trees. But all I want to do is make sure that it's going the same direction, that the trees are facing the same way, facing up. That would be a disaster if I cut the trees facing down. And I'm going to cut two with the fabric here folded wrong sides together. And if I cut two like this, they'll be in near. Okay, so we'll have then a left and a right, cutting it like this. And if you want to be able to come back and watch this later and get more tips, if you just hit share, it will save to your timeline. And I've also included for you the link to my Facebook page, which if you're not, you could be watching it on my page. You could also be watching it on a different page where I shared it. So anyway, you can make sure that if you hit share on this, then it will save to your own timeline. And then you can come back and watch it anytime you want or when you want to sew it up. And of course, I appreciate shares because that allows more people to see what we're doing and be involved in the sewing. So anyway, all right. So now I am cutting the two back pieces. And these are not on the fold. They're just a left and a right. Again, if you were making your own version of this pattern, because it is only in sizes 2 through 6 that I have shared with you. So if you want to make it bigger or even a women's version, you just need to take any A-line dress, and then this is a side seam and this is the opposite shoulder. And you're pretty much just creating a curve between the side seam and the shoulder, and then a curve between the bottom and the shoulder. So I'll show you again in a minute. Let me cut this out and then get the fabric out of the way. And then you need, it's fully lined. So you need an inner and an outer of the fabric. So anyway, so here is this is the front on the fold. Okay, again, I'm just, what, Rose? No, I can't come. Okay, so you can see this is the front, and it's just like a basic A-line dress. The only thing is the regular shoulders would have ended about here, and I just added an extra rounded part and added about a ½ inch on the top. Okay, so that is all that is, extra on there. And then this is the back, two sides of the back, and they look like this. Okay, so this is the side seam of an A-line dress, and this is the opposite shoulder. So what you're doing is you're creating between the shoulder and the side seam a curved line here. Okay, that's going to be the top of the back, and then a curved line here, and that's what crisscrosses. So essentially, it looks something, like this when you have sewn it up. And then the back crisscrosses here. Okay, so you could totally adapt any A-line dress pattern to make your own. All right. Okay, so again, we were talking about which button you think I should use on the shoulders. So I'm just going to leave this here. We have a white button, a green button, or a red shiny button. So let me know what you think, which one we should watch, which one we should do. Now what I'm going to do before I sew this is I just want to add a little bit of fun detail to this dress. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to outline one of these trees in red thick thread. And I just thought that would add a cute little touch. And you won't even see the back of the stitching because it will be inside the fully lined dress. So I'm just going to take this pretty thick, it's not actually embroidery thread, it's, I don't know, it looks like this. I bought it at the local craft store and I'm not exactly sure what it even is. So thick red thread, embroidery floss would work perfect. I am leaning towards the red because I'm also using the red thread. And I'm going to pick a tree kind of on the side near the bottom, maybe this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch around it real quick. So I'll show you as I get going. But I'm just going to add a little bit of fun detail to this. And also a pop of color on the front, which makes me think that it would be a good idea to use red buttons on the shoulder. So again, this pattern works really well with thicker fabric. If you look in the blog post, you can see that when I made my sister hers last year, I used corduroy, and those turned out really, really great. So I'm just doing a basic, I don't know, is it called a back stitch, where you catch about half of the previous stitch and go through the thread, and then go forward a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just going to go around this. While I'm doing this, we should talk about our favorite Christmas traditions, because I have so many that I could talk about. So, pearl cotton. Marion, that's probably a very good technical term for this. When I'm shopping here in my Hong Kong fabric like market, the fabric came from a fabric market. Again, that's why I don't exactly know what it is, because you know when you go to, say, Joann's in the US, or you order online, everything is labeled exactly what it is. And here, I go to the market and it's just in a big pile, and nothing is labeled. So I'm guessing it feels like a kind of a linen. But anyway, this fabric works perfect with thicker fabrics. So Danielle, thank you for commenting on my sign, but I need to make it darker, right? You guys can't read the sign, can you? More what? More rocks? You want to watch more. Did you turn it off? What happened to it? It went bye-bye? Well, you'll have to wait now till Mommy's done so I can turn it back on, okay? So my sign says naptimecreations.com, which is my website, and I wanted to have that on there because often people say, what's your blog? What's your blog? And then underneath it, it says sewing, crafts, and food, and I wanted just that, like is what my blog is about. And then underneath I have my Facebook like handle. And of course you can't read any of that. So I will print it out with bigger, bolder text for next week. And I also wanted to add a note that that Facebook reverses the image, because you know how that you're actually watching this in mirror image. I'm not sewing with my left hand. This is actually my right hand, even though to you it might look like it's my left hand. So, Mommy. What, honey? Yeah. So I wanted to add that to the sign, but when I printed out my sign, I actually made it's printed out in reverse. So when I'm looking at it, it looks like I can't see anything. I can't read it. What do you see? Our friends? That's actually our family photo. So, all right. So I'm just going around this tree, and what I started to do before I was talking about my sign was talk about Christmas traditions and. What did you see, Jack?
No. I see Jack.
Okay, so Rose's video has turned off, which means I have a little buddy in here now. Why are you climbing on the sewing table?
Mom,
Oh, yep. Oh, there's Jack. Yep. Okay, so we have one of my favorite Christmas traditions is hosting. Okay, okay, Max. Hosting parties and cookie exchange. Shh, you're being too loud. Cookie exchanges and things like that. So actually, after I finish this video, I'm going to be baking 6 dozen sugar cookies, and because this afternoon I am hosting my annual cookie exchange and decorating party. So it's kind of like a 2-part thing in that the kids decorate the sugar cookies, and I provide the cookie I bring to the exchange every year, which is at my house, so I'm not really bringing it, is the sugar cookies. And then I also provide the frosting and all of the cookie decorating. It is pink. All the cookie decorating supplies. It's a pink pin. And then everyone else brings 6 dozen of other cookies. And so I give everyone a dozen sugar cookies, and they get to decorate them before they go. It is yellow. Yep. They get to decorate them before they leave, and then I get 5 dozen other cookies. So anyway, it's a great system. And we used to do it during the day when all of our kids were little. But now the kids are all in school, but they still want to come and do the decorating part. So we're doing it after school today, which is good because I haven't baked a single cookie yet. So Rose is in my pins. I know she's looking at the different colors on the ends, pink and yellow. She is super into colors, but she's only right about 30% of the time. So it is kind of funny. She'll be like, that's green. I'm like, no, actually that's orange. But I know she's not colorblind because she can sort colors just fine. Or I assume she's not colorblind because she can sort them. But we're slowly getting progress. Of course she knows pink. That was the first one she was good on. And purple is getting pretty good. All right, so there is one tree outlined and just adding a little bit of color on the front of this dress. All right, so I'm just going to tie off the thread. Check what Rose is doing right behind me. Oh, yeah, no. And we will go on from there. All right, so we have our pieces cut out, and I have an inner and an outer. We have two pieces, lining and outside. So the first thing I need to do is I need to connect the pieces to each other. So I'm gonna, on this main piece, I'm going to line up the sides, and we're going to sew this side together, and then we're going to sew this side together so that when we open it up, it'll be the full 3-part of the jumper. Rose is sitting on my chair right behind me, so if I make any weird moves, it's because I have a beast on my back joining in the fun. All right, so let's find, let's find the right presser foot. I can't move. Mommy's working right here. All right, so I'm just going to serge with a 3/8 seam allowance down the side of this jumper to connect the side seams. Whoa. What?
My leg.
Your leg? Maybe you shouldn't sit there. Oh my goodness. And tomorrow I'm releasing a new free pattern, probably the last one of 2015. Wait, is it 16? 2016. And it's a mommy and me tunic pattern, so you do not want to miss that. So yeah, it'll be posted on naptimecreations.com tomorrow. No, actually not tomorrow. Friday morning. So this is for you, yeah, for Christmas, a Christmas dress. All right, so now we have the pieces sewed together, and you can see on the front the one that has the red on it. It's going to look really cute. See the red tree? No, this one. Mommy put red thread on the tree. Yep. Okay, so I don't sell the things that I make. I like making things only like once or twice, and then I kind of get bored with what I'm doing. So then I move on to something else, and I design a new pattern and I sew that one. So if I was mass producing something for selling, I think I would get really, for me it wouldn't be as inspiring, should I say. So I usually just make something once or twice. So no, I don't sell. I do sell the patterns to make these, or I give them away. So this one is a free pattern that you can grab. Freebie, which I love. And Anne, you're asking about my sewing machine. It is called an iSew. More what? More sleep? Oh, more trees. No. No, this is for you. So this brand of sergers, is called an iSew, and I think it's an Asian brand because, whoops, I looked for it in the U.S. and I did not see it, or I haven't seen it on Amazon. So I bought it here in Hong Kong. But I feel from using it that it is comparable to another like lower level, say Brother type machine. But it's worked great, so I have no complaints. It's worked really, really well for me. So you don't need to serge. You could definitely just sew this on a regular sewing machine, but look at what a neat seam the serger makes. But if you don't have a serger, all the seams are enclosed in this because it's lined, and then we flip it inside. So you could definitely just use a regular sewing machine to do all of the seams. You would not need a serger at all. I see you. You're going to fall, it looks like. And then my sewing machine is a Janome. Again, I bought it here, but you could definitely, Janomes are, super popular in the U.S. as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the jumper together, right sides touching. So I've got the right and all the 3 panels together. So I've got them. You what? Okay. Be careful, okay? This is the lining, and then this is the main jumper, and right sides together, and I'm just going to line up and pin together all around the whole thing. So, and then we're going to sew it all together around. Again, you could totally do this with a regular sewing machine as well. You do not need a serger. Those of you just stopping in, if you haven't watched before, I'm Emily from, I want to use the pink one, from naptimecreations.com, and my website is on the sign behind me, and I'm going to be adding, I will make the rest of the sign better. Maybe I'll go over it with like a big black marker. And Rosie, I'm not going to use more pink. I just grab whatever comes out. And I sew twice a week on Monday nights, and I will use a yellow. Monday and Wednesday night U.S. time. And this is my daughter Rose, who is 3 and really likes to be a part of what I'm doing. She also has, if you haven't heard, she has some speech issues because she has a condition called microtia, which means her outer ear was affected during development, and so she's actually missing her outer and middle ear, but her inner ear works perfectly. So with hearing aids, whoa, she just fell off the back of my chair. With hearing aids, she is able to hear really well, and speech is coming along, but there are some delays. So sometimes I cannot always understand her when she's talking. But anyway, back to me. So I love when people share this video because, one, it allows you to come back and be able to find it easily and not have to look through the 100 videos I have on my Facebook page. And 2, it also allows more people to find the show and watch it. And of course, I just appreciate the support. So anyway, if you want to give this a share to your timeline or a friend's timeline that you know would like this, I would love it. And if it is your first time, please say hi. Because Rose is saying hi. Because then I can say hi back. So, Veronica, hi. You're saying hi. Well, you can watch it here on the computer. So anyway, thank you all for your support, and I love offering free patterns. You can't see. You have to lean in here. Here. Look. Michelle, if you're not seeing the comments, you can just try and refresh it. No, look up here, Rose. Look. That's where they are. Hi. So anyway, try refreshing, and that might be able to help with not seeing the comments. There is a little bit of a delay, but it shouldn't be a delay for you. It's just a delay for me on the live feed. Okay, so now what I have done is I have pinned together this whole piece, right sides facing. Okay, so you can see. You also have a 3-year-old named Rose. Mindy, that's awesome. We love the name. It's a family name. Hi. It's a family. Okay, not so loud. It's a family name. It's my middle name, and my grandma was named Rosella on one side, and on the other side I actually had a grandma named Rose. So it's a name that's been in our family for a while. So Jean, nice to see you. Thanks for watching, and we'll go from there. So yeah, Rose often watches TV when I'm doing this, but she's not right now. The lining is just a cotton, I think, like a soft cotton. I bought it a while ago and I don't remember. I think it's actually from the Imaginettes fabric store, but I'm not sure. So one thing I want to point out is, for some reason, my lining and my main fabric are not lining up perfectly. See how that's so much taller? And I'm not exactly sure why. I obviously cut out one incorrectly. So when I'm sewing, I obviously want to make sure that I'm still catching both of these. And, huh? Yeah, you have to just see there. Just make sure you're sewing on the smaller one. So it should be fine, but you just want to make sure that you're catching both when you do it. So I'm going to serge around, because then I don't have to clip my corners. But if you do, well, maybe I should do it on the regular machine to show you guys about clipping the corners. So, all right, I think probably many of you are just sewing with the regular machine, so I'm going to do it with this one just to be able to show you. So, Kim, I do get much of my fabric here in Hong Kong, but I also stock up when I'm in the U.S., and I order online. So, kind of a mix. And Pamela, second timer, yay! Thank you for stopping in. I'm glad you enjoyed my home tour. I enjoyed doing it and showing off where we live and what's going on. So, all right, so I'm just going to sew around the, well, I want to leave, you want to leave about 4 or 5 inches open to turn, because, right, we have to turn this right side out when we're done. So I don't want to leave that on like the curved part, because that makes it more difficult. So I'm just going to start down here sewing. So when I come back around, the open part is on the nice straight area. So hopefully you can see this okay. So I'll have to trim the extra seam allowance, because again, like I said, it's not lining up perfectly, and I'm assuming that must have been a cutting issue, because I cut them both from the exact same pattern. So I don't know what happened there. If you've watched me for more than a while, you know that I am not a perfectionist. And so things like this happen all the time. I'll be like, how are these not lining up? I have no idea. Well, it's probably because I wasn't careful enough when I was sewing or when I was cutting, but that's just the way I work. So as I'm going around the corner, I'm just smoothing the fabric to make sure that, those are my earrings, yep. I'm smoothing the fabric to make sure that it is not bunching. And I'm also double checking to make sure that I'm catching both layers as I'm sewing, okay? So we're just literally going to sew all the way around the whole perimeter. Honey, you're being really loud, okay? So, do you want to get down and play with your kitchen? Or the thing that Grandma made you? You can get out the popsicle sticks down there. So anyway, we're literally just sewing all the way around the whole perimeter of this dress. And then we get to turn it out, top stitch it. And that's the thing about this dress. It's super simple. It is not, like, complicated. Now, I do... Yeah. I do have to make 2 buttonholes, which is sometimes, yay, Ann. Okay, Ann, if you just hit share, it will save to your timeline, then you can come back and watch it anytime you want. So if you can't finish, that's a great way to save it for later. Another thing about when you hit share is that you can come back and watch it and you can fast forward through all the slow bits. So instead of watching me sew around the entire perimeter of this dress, if you want to just watch it quickly, if you hit share, you can come back and watch. And on the replay, you can fast forward. And you can't, of course, fast forward or rewind on live, but you can do that on the replay. So that's a great advantage to coming back and watching it later, is if you just hit share now, and then you'll be able to come back. Oh boy, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right, so we have almost made it around to the other shoulder. And I'm using an approximate 3/8 to a fourth to 3/8 inch seam allowance, which is just about 1 centimeter, maybe slightly less for those of you that think like that. I'm from the US and I know we have our silly inches, but because I've lived in Hong Kong for so long, I'm also able to do the metric measurements pretty well, although not perfect. So anyway, yeah, I'm working on it. Rose, it's really hard for you to sew with you on my chair. All right, so we're now going along the neckline area, or the back of the jumper. And then we're gonna go to the, yep, if it freezes up, just try refreshing. Sometimes it's my internet, sometimes it could be yours. What? Oh, it's a sign that Mommy hung up. I'm trying something new. Do you like the sign? Yeah. Okay, and I've got my, it doesn't say banana. It says food though. Because Mommy also likes to make food, right? Yeah. When you're going around the top of the shoulder straps, sometimes a few starts and stops and moving it around is helpful. What's not helpful is sewing with a 3-year-old on your chair, bouncing around, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. So, make it work, yeah. Because you're kind of all up in my space today. Yeah. So going around, yeah, you can just see, yeah, it's a little bit slower going around the tops, but you just kind of want to make it as smooth and as curved as possible. And we are nearing our last edge. What?
I'm hungry.
You're hungry? What's on the table? The rest of your breakfast. Go finish your smoothie and then you can have a snack. Okay? Go finish your smoothie. We've had the last 2 days,
Mom.
what?
I got.
You're stuck? Here, I'll help you down. No? The last 2 days I've had one boy home on Tuesday and one boy home on Wednesday from school. So, with some stomach bug issues. But please stop. Hmm?
I got.
You're stuck. I'll help you down.
Yeah.
Jack? I'm so glad everyone is healthy today and off to school. So, Rose and I are back. Beverly, I think this is in, stop. This is in mirror image. So if it looks backwards to you, it's because you're watching it as if you're looking in a mirror. So my machines are actually just normal. It's just the way Facebook shows the video is in reverse. So you want to look in the mirror? Yeah, go look in the mirror. All right, so I'm almost back around. Almost back around. You guys are so patient. That's not super fast. And then we're going to stop there. So here is the opening between here and here that I left to turn it. Okay, and I'm going to take my pins out, and then I'm going to clip my seam allowance before turning. Okay, so I see you. You're standing on my chair. Okay, so you know that I'm not. I see you. You're leaning on my chair, honey. Okay. When you have a seam that has a curve in it, before you turn it right side out, you need to add some clips in the curve to make it lay nicer on the back. So first what I'm going to do is some of these where the seam allowance is a little bit wider because of me lining up the two layers, I'm going to trim some of the excess. You can have that, yep. Okay, so I'm trimming some of the excess where the seam allowance is a little bit wider. If it's just a normal seam allowance, I'm not going to trim it. But where it's wider because of the layers, I am going to trim a little bit. And then at the curves, we're going to use the little scissors. And we need to put clips in the curve. If you don't put clips in the curve, when you turn it right side out, your curved areas will not lay well, and they'll pull, the fabric will pull funny because it's not meant to curve that direction, it's meant to curve this direction. So, all right, so what we're going to do is along these edges, oh goodness, along these curves right here, I'm just going to put about every 1/4 to 1/2 inch some little clips. Now make sure you do not clip your seam. If you clip your seam, you have to go back and re-sew it. No more. Because if you don't re-sew it, obviously you'll have a hole. So where the curve is not as sharp, you can get away with putting fewer clips. They don't have to be as frequent. Where the curve is tighter, you need to make sure you add clips closer together. So you can't really put too many clips. It's just a matter of, honey, please stop. I think people are seeing it's backwards because this is actually my right hand, and to you does this look like it's my left hand? I think that's what people are seeing. I'm not left-handed. I am right-handed, clipping with my right hand right now. Wedding ring on the left hand. It's just the way it shows up. Huh? Yeah. There's baby.
No. Huh?
Baby Jack and Max.
No. What?
I see.
Mommy.
So this is, yeah, clipping the corners so that we can turn it.
Mommy.
And you probably would, oh, did I get the, oh, whoa. I almost clipped my, it will be a miracle if I get through this without clipping one of the seams or one of the threads. All right, so you just want to clip the main one. And I know it looks weird in mirror. It's just the way, it's like a selfie. You know, like when you take a selfie, it's actually in mirror of yourself because you're using that front camera of your phone. Well, I'm using the front camera of my phone to take this video, and so everything is in like selfie mode, which is in mirror. So that's why it's weird. All right, so clipping, 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 clipping. Clipping with a 3-year-old right next to me who's making faces. I know, I see that.
Mom.
Yes, there's us too. That's what I'm using to read the comments today because usually the comments show up on my phone, but today they don't. So I'm watching on the computer too so I can answer people's comments. All right, I think we're almost around. I'm going to put I've clipped all of the top. Did I clip all the top? Yeah. And I'm just going to put a couple of clips in the bottom along the, because there are some, it is a little bit curved here.
Mom, it's stuck.
That's red thread.
It's stuck.
It's stuck? Yeah, it has to stay in there.
Right.
It's part of the sewing machine. All right, so if you wanted to make sure this would be perfectly flat, after you turn this, you will want to iron it. And I did not get my iron out, so I'm not going to today because then that means I would have to, please stop. I'd have to go get it and get it set up. So for today, okay, we're not going to. All right, so now I'm going to turn the entire jumper through the hole that we left here, okay? So we're just going to poke it through. Lou, that's funny that you like to watch even though you don't sew. Although I love to watch like fancy cooking shows, those, you know, those like cupcake shows and those cake shows, and I would never make that sort of fancy food. So the food I make is simple food for my family, but I love to watch the gourmet sew. So I guess it's not that weird that you like to watch sewing even if you don't sew. All right, so we need to make sure that we press out all of the edges and the curves. It's kind of, it just feels like a big sack at the moment, but it's going to take shape. It's going to take shape. So you have to make sure you press out the 4 shoulder straps. Kia, am I saying that right? We have lived in Hong Kong for 13 years. 13 years. So it is home. It's pretty much the only place I've lived as a married adult. So for me, it's definitely been great. It's been a great experience. All right, so I'm trying to here push out the shoulder straps. And, you know, it's a smaller space, so the fabric is not quite as easy, but just keep working with it. You could use, if you have blunt end scissors, you could use those to poke out the parts. You don't, if you have sharp end scissors, you want to make sure that obviously you, Kia, okay, you have, you don't want to poke through the fabric. So the other day I was making, I don't know if you saw the tutorial on my blog for the kids' like toothbrush travel case, and I was trying to poke through the laminated fabric to turn it right side out, and I totally shoved my scissors right through the case. So I was able to hide it for the photos, thank goodness. Oh great, there's a flaw in the fabric right at the front of my dress. I did not see that. That's what I get for buying $2 a yard market fabric. We might have to embroider some more on the tree. So here's our one red embroidered tree. Super cute. And, all right. So now what we're going to do, oh, yeah, Becky, a chopstick is a great idea too. Something with not a sharp end. Like sometimes I'll get my knitting needles out, but those are also pretty sharp and they like can poke right through. So we have the hole that we left for turning, and what we're going to do is just fold those edges in and sew that closed, and then we're going to continue to top stitch around the entire jumper. So that will allow it to lay flat, and I think top stitching just gives everything a really nice look. So we're going to start at the hole, and again, you could grab an iron and just press this really quick to make sure that everything was just laying really nicely and the curves were nice, but I think I can just roll it as I go. So we can go from there. So anyway, I'm going to, for top stitching, I like to lengthen.
Mom.
Yeah. I like to lengthen my stitch just a little bit. So the normal stitch on my machine at least is 2.2 length. So whatever that means, it's 2.2 length. And I like to bump it up to about a 3 stitch length for a 3 stitch length just for top stitching. It just makes it look a little more professional. So again, I'm going to start at this place where I pinned and sew around the whole thing, and I'll come back to where I started. So I'm going to stitch about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Usually with top stitching, you want to sew really close to the edge, and I am using red thread. So I have to be really careful because you can definitely see every stitch. If you aren't as confident in your stitching, you'll want to use a thread that you can't see as much. So on this one, maybe like a white would be less obvious, but I'm trying to add some pops of color, and so I'm using red to add that pop of color. Okay, and it looks like we clipped the corners okay. They seem to be laying nicely as I'm going around. There's no pulling or twisting of the corner, so that's good. And I have my needle set to down, so when I stop sewing, it's held in line, held in place by the needle. And that's something I often like to do, is keep the needle down, and then I can, especially if I'm stopping and starting quite a bit, going over the side seam there, it's a little bit of bulky with this fabric. And then top stitching also, when you have 2 layers like this, just allows things to lay nicely, and then when I wash it too, it should stay it shouldn't need to be really repressed out. So if you didn't have it top stitched, then the edges when you wash it could get all mixed around again.
Mama.
What are you doing, Rose? Can you finish your go get your smoothie and finish it? We will have Rose on hand to model today. Obviously, she's right here, so she should be available for showing off. So after we finish going around with the top stitching, the last thing to do is add 2 buttonholes and then sew the buttons on. So do we have any final, yeah, I printed the sign backwards so you could read it, but I didn't print it dark enough. So I'm going to fix that for next time. What was I going to say? Oh, so we need to sew 2 buttonholes on each of the shoulders, and then sew on the buttons. And again, I'm still going back and forth between red and green buttons, but I'm 95% sure I'm going to use the red buttons since I'm trying to make everything, the extra colors, red. Alright, so now we're getting to the strap part where it's a little bit trickier to go around with smaller curves. What? There's your pan. You have cake in your pan? Okay. Yeah, so this jumper dress works best with some woven fabric, and woven fabric means it doesn't have stretch, that has some stiffness to it. So I've made this in corduroy. This is kind of a linen-ish fabric, and because it's lined, that also gives it more structure because you have 2 layers of fabric. This is the front, so I want to be really careful with my stitching because you'll see this right along the neckline. Are you guys talking about my sign? My sign is printed backwards. in mirror. So I wrote it on the computer, and then I put it in mirror image to print it. But I do need to go over with a darker marker some of the bottom printing because you guys cannot see that. That's pretty obvious. I like the font, but I guess there. So my blog is naptimecreations.com, and that's up there, nap-timecreations.com. Thank you. No, nap hyphen. You have to put the hyphen in because it was really expensive or something to buy the one without the hyphen. I don't remember why I put the hyphen in, but I know that in order to switch, it was a big deal. So, Amy, nap hyphen time creations. And the bow is, yeah, the bow. I'll have to see if I can find a little red bow, or maybe put another, maybe like a red felt Christmas tree up there, like copy the design of one of these trees, but do it in red felt. I was thinking might be cute on that part too. So I'm sure I'll figure something out. I'll see how it looks, or how bad you can, if you can tell really bad. Okay, and you guys, my, you don't want that one? My computer here just died because I don't have it plugged in. So I'm still going to sew, and I'm still going to finish this, but I can no longer see your comments. Okay, you can throw it away. So I will go back and I will respond to comments and questions after the show. Rosie, be careful of the camera. But right now I'm going blind on your comments and your questions. So if you guys can help each other answer, that's fabulous. And if you don't know the answer, I will fill in after I'm finished. So this is a really weird show to me that nothing is showing up on my phone, which normally I can see all of your comments right below the video on my phone. So very, very weird. Okay, so here is our jumper, and we have it all laid out, and we have it formed. Okay, so it just looks like this. It's a big, yep, grapes. It's a big open panel, and then it folds and attaches at the shoulder seams. So yeah, we're going to sew some buttonholes and sew on the buttons, and then we're finished. So this is the buttonholer that came with my machine. I like it. The only thing that I don't like about it is you're supposed to be able to put the button in here, clamp it down, and then it's supposed to sew the right size button hole. But what I found is that when I do this, it's way too big. Way too big. So I always do that. See what it says. Take the button out, and then I make it about 4 clicks smaller so that it will be the right size. So I have no idea why it's off so bad. I mean, it's not even close. Not even close to the right size. And then I always do a practice one as well. So I'm just going to take this scrap of fabric. Well, it's fine. Put it in your thing. I'm going to take this scrap of fabric, and I'm going to sew a practice buttonhole with this. And then I need to set my setting. Okay. All right. Okay. That's fine. Please don't bump the camera. All right. So we're going to try this button hole and see if it is a good size for these red buttons. Okay. So the buttonholer just makes the button for you, which I really like, except for it doesn't work 100% of the time correctly. And it looks like it's also making very big. Oh, it is not working. No, that is. Last time I had trouble with this last time I used it. I wonder if there's something off my setting. See what it just did? That is nothing like a buttonhole. I wonder if I should try a different one. This had trouble last time I was using this as well. Something is not right with the machine. But looks like No, it doesn't go back all the way. So weird, but I can fill it in. And look at that. See, it only does like 3/4. So I guess I might have to take my machine in. But I can work with this one because it's straight. Just to make it slightly smaller. We're going to do one more practice. If anyone has any buttonholer tips, leave it on the video. I thought last time I did this that it was just like a fluke, that it didn't work well, but it appears, yeah, that's not right. That is not right. I have that down. I don't know. Okay, so I think the size is good now, but I'm going to have to fill in some extra zigzagging, which I can do. So I want to put the buttonholes on the front so that buttonhole on the front. If I put the buttonhole on the front of the jumper, then you'll see the button like this. And the button will be up here and that will be like that. Yeah, that's what I want to do because I don't want this flap showing on the front of the dress, right? I want the flap on the back of the dress. Okay. Let's see if we can make a buttonhole on the top of this jumper shoulder. Oh, this one's gonna work! Yay! I have no idea what is wrong with this, why it doesn't work all the time. Oh, it worked. It worked. Okay, I got a little bit close to the edge. Not ideal. But the buttonhole actually worked, which is exciting.
Mom, my favorite.
It worked. The buttonhole worked. So now we're making the other one. Ooh, they both worked. Lucky. I do not know why it's being so weird though. And this one, the placement is a little bit better. Actually, the placement on this one is perfect. So I'm not going to, cut this because I want to fix this. So you can see, but I'll do that after I'm done. So you can see how this one is too close to the edge and this one is perfect. So we'll just use a safety pin to close that shoulder so you can see the dress on. And then I will fix the, I'll rip it out, which I don't love doing, but it's a Christmas dress, so I can get the seam ripper out. I'll rip out that buttonhole and do another one after we're done. I will not make you guys sit through me ripping out a buttonhole because that is not fun. Okay, so we're going to sew the buttons on the back of the dress. And I do want Rose, can you come here for a minute? You want to kind of check the fit before you sew the buttons on because you could adjust the fit by sewing where you sew your button. So if you need it smaller, you can sew the button back farther. If you need it bigger, you can sew the button closer to the edge. Rose, can you come here just for a second? I need to measure this on you. Come here. Yes, please. Come here. Can you stand up? Stand up where you are. Okay. Let me just do a quick measurement. And, all right, so we're going to sew the button not right on the edge, but not right, not too far back either. So based on my really quick measurement of her. So I'm just going to sew, this is a 4-hole button, and usually with buttonholes like this, it works better to have a 2-hole button, but it's what I have. So I'm using my red, thicker thread again. Hopefully that will hold. And sewing on the button. I have not, my machine technically is supposed to be able to sew buttons on, but I have not used it for that. For some reason, a needle by a plastic button just, to me, seems like we'd have a big crunch. So I haven't tried that. But I know many people do and have had great success, and it's probably super a nice looking button sewed on. Okay. Excuse me. 'Tis the season for colds. All right, so we're going to sew this last button on, and then we're going to see if Rose will come model for us, and I will safety pin the shoulder where the buttonhole needs to be fixed, because I'm going to go back and rip that out and put it in a little bit better spot. But otherwise, you'll get to see overall the fit and look of this crisscross jumper. The other ones I actually made. Okay. You're going to put the bread there?
Yeah.
Okay. I made 2 for my nieces, but this is actually the first one I'm making for Rose. So, let's see. So it's opposite shoulder to back. And so here is the jumper, the front, and then the back, you can see it's crisscross. So I'm going to bring Rose and see if she'll try this on for us, and then you can take a look. So we're going to try on your new dress. Can you stand up, please? All right. I'm going to take off the dress you're wearing.
Why?
Well, because you can't really put that dress over it. Okay? And then we'll put this other shirt on you that Mommy has. Yeah, this one will look nice. Okay, hands in. Oh, it's going to look so cute. You're going to wear it for Christmas like this? Okay, let me turn this so you can see what we're doing. Okay, so here she has on leggings and a cute turtleneck. I'm not sure, is it choking? What shirt I'll wear with it, but that's the start. So, jumper, and then bring around the opposite shoulder. And then this side, bring around the opposite shoulder. And I'm just going to pin this.
Why?
Well, because I need to fix the buttonhole. I need to fix the buttonhole.
No.
Yes, I do need to fix it.
No, take me.
No, oh, I'm not going to pin you. I'm not going to pin you. It won't hurt, okay? It won't hurt. See? It doesn't hurt. Okay. So, can you look in the camera? And
I see pin.
the pin's up there. And show your cute dress from the front. Now turn around. Let's see from the back. Can you turn around? Let's see the back. Okay? So there's the back. And you can see how it just crisscrosses. Is good with leggings or tights. And there you go. So you want to make sure you use the measurement for the jumper pattern based on the chest width, because and then just lengthen or shorten if you need to, because if you make it too big, then the shoulders will be too wide. So, and here's our little embroidered red Christmas tree for a little bit of color. And we have a cute little Christmas jumper. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it despite technical difficulties and other issues. And I will look forward to seeing you next week, where I don't know what we'll be sewing, but we'll sew something fun and we'll have a good time together. So
My hair, my bear, bye-bye.
the bear went bye-bye. Yeah. And
Yeah.
we'll put it back on. Okay? We'll sew something fun and we'll have a great time together. So I'd love for you to follow me on Facebook or subscribe to my blog, but we will keep in touch and we'll see you next time. So thanks so much. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.